The war was over. That is what they said on the news screens. That is what the generals told the soldiers. But Tai-Ho did not feel like the war was over. He still heard the bombs in his sleep. He still saw the faces of dead friends when he closed his eyes. 3 months had passed since the ceasefire. 3 months since humans and the Valari had agreed to stop killing each other. Tai-Ho should have been happy. Instead, he felt empty. He had spent 5 years fighting, 5 years hating. Now they told him to protect the same people he had. Tried to destroy the transport ship landed on Heaven 4 with a loud noise. Tai-Ho looked out the window at the ruined world. Buildings were broken. Streets were filled with dust and rocks. The sky was gray with smoke that never seemed to go away. This had been a beautiful Valari colony once. Now it was a graveyard. "Welcome to your new assignment," said the officer next to him. His name was Ji Woo. They had fought together for 2 years. Refugee protection detail. Exciting, right? Tai-Ho did not answer. He grabbed his bag and walked off the ship. The refugee camp was large. Thousands of Valari lived here in small tents and metal buildings. They were thin and tired. Their pale blue skin looked gray from hunger. Their silver eyes watched the human soldiers with fear and hate. Tai-Ho understood that look. He had the same look when he thought about them. The Valari were not so different from humans. They had 2 arms, 2 legs, and faces that could smile or cry, but their skin was blue like the ocean. Their eyes were silver like stars. And they had killed his brother, Dong-Yun. That was his brother's name. He was only 22 years old when he died. A Valari warship had destroyed his transport during the Battle of the Crimson Nebula. Tai-Ho was not there. He was fighting on a different planet. He found out about his brother's death 3 days later through a message. The message was short. "We regret to inform you that Private Dong-Yun has died in service to Earth." That was all. No details. No comfort. Just cold words on a screen. Tai-Ho had hated the Valari ever since. His job at the camp was simple. Walk around. Make sure no one caused trouble. Protect the refugees from danger. It was boring work. It was insulting work. He was a soldier, not a babysitter. On his 3rd day, Tai-Ho was checking the old part of the camp. Most buildings here were destroyed. No one lived in this area anymore. But he heard something. A small sound. Like a scared animal. He followed the sound to a broken school. The walls had fallen. The roof was gone. But in one corner, under a pile of broken wood, he saw movement. Tai-Ho pulled out his weapon. "Come out," he said. Slowly. Nothing happened. He moved closer. He pushed away some of the wood. And then he saw her. A child. A Valari girl. She was maybe 8 or 9 years old. Her blue skin was covered in dirt. Her silver eyes were wide with terror. She was so thin that Tai-Ho could see her bones through her skin. In her small hands, she held a burned photograph. The picture showed a family. 2 adults and a child. The child was her. The adults were probably her parents, Tai-Ho said. His voice was softer now. "It is okay. I will not hurt you." The girl did not move. She did not speak. She just stared at him like he was a monster. Maybe he was. To her, all humans were monsters. Just like all Valari were monsters to him. Tai-Ho put his weapon away. He reached out his hand slowly. "Come with me. I will get you food." The girl screamed. She pushed herself back against the wall. Her whole body was shaking. Tai-Ho stopped. He pulled his hand back. He had seen this kind of fear before. On battlefields. In hospitals. It was the fear of someone who had lost everything. He sat down on the ground. He was tired. He was angry. He did not want to help this child. She was Valari. Her people had killed Dong-Yun. But she was also just a scared little girl with no family. "Fine," he said quietly. "I will sit here. You do not have to come out." He stayed like that for a long time. The sun moved across the gray sky. The wind blew dust through the broken building. The girl watched him. He watched her. Finally, Tai-Ho took out a food bar from his pocket. He placed it on the ground between them. Then he stood up and walked a few steps away. The girl looked at the food. She looked at him. Slowly, very slowly, she moved forward. She grabbed the food bar and pushed it into her mouth. She ate like she had not eaten in days. Maybe she had not, Taeho reported the girl to the camp administration. A tired officer looked at his screen and sighed. We have hundreds of orphans, the officer said. All the Valari caretakers are busy. We do not have space for more children. So what do I do with her? Taeho asked. The officer shrugged. You found her? You watch her. Temporary guardian duty. Congratulations. Taeho wanted to argue. He wanted to refuse, but the officer was already talking to someone else. The conversation was over. He walked back to the broken school. The girl was still there. She had not moved. Looks like you were stuck with me, Taeho said. The girl said nothing. She just held her burned photograph close to her chest. That night, Taeho set up a small space for her in his quarters. He gave her a blanket. He gave her more food. She took everything but never spoke. Never smiled. Never even looked at him directly. When he tried to help her sit down, she flinched so hard that she fell over. Her whole body went stiff with fear. Taeho stepped back quickly. He held up his hands to show he meant no harm. And in that moment, he saw something that changed him. He saw that this little girl was afraid of him. Afraid of humans. The same way he was afraid of her people. The same way he had hated them. The war had made them both into victims. Both into orphans in different ways. Both into broken things trying to survive. Taeho sat down far away from her. He did not try to touch her again. My name is Taeho, he said quietly. What is your name? The girl did not answer. But she looked at him. Really looked at him. And in her silver eyes, he saw something familiar. Pain, loss, the same feelings he carried every day. The war was over, but the wounds were still fresh. And somehow, this scared little girl had become his responsibility. Taeho did not know if he could help her. He did not know if he even wanted to. But as he watched her fall asleep holding her photograph, he knew one thing for certain. They were both alone. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start. 2 weeks passed. The girl still did not speak. Taeho had learned. Her name from the camp records, Yuna. That was what her parents had called her. It was a simple name. A soft name. It did not match the hard, scared look in her silver eyes. Every morning, Taeho woke up and found Yuna sitting in the corner of the room. She was always awake before him. She was always watching. Like she expected him to attack her at any moment, he tried to talk to her. He tried to make her comfortable. But everything he did was wrong. On the first day, he made food for her. Human food. Rice and vegetables. She looked at it and pushed it away. Her face turned a strange color. Later, he learned that Valari could not eat many human foods. Their bodies were different inside. On the third day, he tried to give her new clothes. The ones she wore were torn and dirty. But when he held out the shirt, she screamed and ran to the other side of the room. On the fifth day, he tried to help her wash her face. She bit his hand so hard that it bled. Taeho was not a patient man. He had spent years in war. He knew how to fight. He knew how to survive. But he did not know how to take care of a child, especially a child who feared him. She has quiet grief, said Elder Sora. Sora was an old Valari woman who worked at the camp. Her blue skin had faded to almost white with age. Her silver eyes were kind, but sad. She helped translate between humans and Valari. She helped the two sides understand each other. What is quiet grief? Taeho asked. When Valari children experience great pain, sometimes their voice goes away, Sora explained. It is not physical. Their throat works fine, but their mind locks the words inside. It is a protection. A way to hide from the world. How do I fix it? Sora smiled sadly. You cannot fix it. You can only wait. You can only show her that she is safe. One day, when she is ready, she will speak again, eh? Taeho did not like that answer. He wanted a solution. A quick way to make things better. But there was no quick way. There was only time Jiwoo visited him that afternoon. His old friend looked around the small room and laughed. Well, the great Sergeant Tai-ho is now a babysitter, Jiwoo said. How the mighty have fallen. Shut up, Tai-ho said. But he was not really angry. Jiwoo was the only person who could make him smile these days. I brought you something. Guwoo placed a box on the table. Ration packs designed for Valari children. Special food that their bodies can handle. I got them from the medical team. Tai-ho looked at the box. Then he looked at Jiwoo. Thank you. Do not thank me. Just do not let the kids starve. Guwoo paused at the door. You know, it is strange. You hated them so much. Now you are raising one of their children. I am not raising her, Tai-ho said quickly. This is temporary. Jiwoo just smiled. Sure it is. After Jiwoo left, Tai-ho opened the box. Inside were small packets of food made for Valari. He prepared one and placed it near Yuna. She looked at it with suspicion. But when she tasted it, her eyes went wide. She ate the whole thing in minutes. It was the first time Tai-ho had seen her eat without fear that night. Something happened that changed everything. Tai-ho was dreaming. He was back on the battlefield. Fire was everywhere. People were screaming. And then he saw Dong-yoon. His brother was standing in front of him, but his face was burned. His eyes were empty. Why did you not save me? Dong-yoon asked. Why did you let me die? Tai-ho woke up screaming. His body was covered in sweat. His heart was beating so fast that he thought it might explode. He sat up in bed and tried to breathe. Then he heard it. A soft sound. Coming from outside his door, he walked over and opened the door slowly. Yuna was sitting there on the floor. Her small body was pressed against the wall, and she was humming. It was a strange melody, soft and sad. It went up and down like waves on an ocean. Tai-ho had never heard anything like it. Yuna was not looking at him. She was looking at the floor. But she was humming, making sounds. For the first time since he found her, Tai-ho understood. She had heard him screaming. She had heard his pain. And in her own way, she was trying to comfort him. A monster would not do that. An enemy would not do that. Only a kind soul would try to help someone who had hurt her people. Tai-ho sat down next to the door. He did not go close to her. He just sat and listened. The melody filled the dark hallway. It was beautiful and broken at the same time. When the song ended, Yuna finally looked at him. Her silver eyes were wet with tears. Thank you, Tai-ho said quietly. Yuna did not answer, but she nodded. Just a small movement of her head. It was the first time she had responded to him at all. After that night, things started to change. Tai-ho began learning. Valari words from Elder. Sora. Simple words. Hello? Goodbye. Food. Safe. He practiced them every day until his tongue hurt from the strange sounds. When he spoke, Valari to Yuna. She looked surprised, then confused, then something else. Something that might have been hope. He started leaving small gifts for her. Nothing big. A soft blanket from the supply tent. A small stuffed animal that looked like a Valari pet. A drawing tablet with colored pens. Yuna took each gift carefully. She examined them like they might be traps. But she kept them. She placed them in a neat line next to her sleeping mat. The drawing tablet was her favorite. She spent hours making pictures. Most of them were dark. Burning buildings. Empty streets. Shadows without faces. But sometimes she drew other things. Flowers. Stars. Small animals. One evening, Tai-ho came back to his room and found Yuna waiting for him. She was holding the drawing tablet. She looked nervous but determined. She held up the tablet so he could see. The picture showed two figures. One was tall with brown skin and dark hair. That was him. The other was small with blue skin and silver eyes. That was her. They were standing together under a sky full of stars. Tai-ho stared at the picture for a long time. His throat felt tight. His eyes burned. Is that us? he asked. Yuna nodded. It is beautiful. For the first time since he found her, Yuna smiled. It was small. It was quick. But it was real. Taeho smiled back. The war had taken so much from both of them. It had killed his brother. It had killed her parents. It had filled them both with fear and hate and pain. But here in this small room, something new was growing. Something fragile and strange. They were not family. They were not even friends yet. But they were no longer enemies. They were two broken people learning to trust each other. And maybe that was the first step towards something better. Something neither of them had expected to find. Hope won. Month had passed since Taeho found Yuna. Things were getting better between them. She still did not speak, but she stayed closer to him now. She no longer flinched when he entered the room. Sometimes she even sat next to him while he ate. But outside their small world, things were getting worse. The human soldiers at the camp were angry. Many of them had lost friends and family in the war. They did not understand why they had to protect the Valari. They did not want peace. They wanted revenge. A group called the Reckoners was growing. These soldiers believed that the Valari should be punished for the war. They said the ceasefire was a mistake. They said humans should have kept fighting until every Valari was dead. Taeho had heard them talking in the meal hall. He had seen their angry faces. He had watched them push Valari refugees and call them names. He tried to stay away from them. He focused on his work. He focused on Yuna. But trouble has a way of finding people who try to avoid it. It was a Thursday evening. Taeho was walking back to his quarters after getting supplies. The sun was setting, painting the gray sky orange and red. It was almost beautiful if you did not look at the ruined buildings. 3 soldiers stepped out of the shadows in front of him. Taeho recognized them immediately. Minho was the leader. He was tall and thick with muscles. He had a scar across his face from a Valari blade. Behind him stood 2 others, Jansu and Byunhoon. All 3 were Reckoners. Well, Minho said. If it is not Taeho, the traitor. Taeho stopped walking. He put down his supply bag slowly. I do not want trouble. Too bad. Trouble wants you. Minho stepped closer. We heard about your little pet. That blue-skinned alien child you are protecting? She is a refugee. An orphan. I am doing my job. Your job. Minho laughed. It was an ugly sound. Your job is to be a soldier. To fight for humanity, not to babysit enemy children. The war is over, Minho. The war is never over. Minho grabbed Taeho's shirt and pulled him close. My sister died on Proxima 3, burned alive by Valari weapons. And now, you want me to believe we should help them? Protect them? Taeho could see the pain in Minho's eyes. He understood it. He had felt the same pain when Dongyun died. But understanding someone's pain did not make their actions right. I lost my brother in the war, Taeho said quietly. I know what you feel. But that child did not kill your sister. She is just a scared little girl. She is the enemy. She is a child. Minho punched him. The blow came fast and hard. Taeho stumbled backward. Blood filled his mouth. Junsu and Byunhoon moved in from the sides. They hit him again and again. Taeho fought back. He was a good fighter. He had survived 5 years of war. But 3 against 1 was not fair. A fist connected with his eye. A boot kicked his stomach. He fell to the ground. They kept hitting him. Stay away from the alien, Minho said, standing over him. Or next time, we will do more than beat you. We will make her disappear. Understand? They walked away laughing. Taeho lay in the dirt, bleeding and broken. It took him a long time to stand up. Everything hurt. His eye was swelling shut. His ribs felt cracked. But he picked up his supply bag and walked home. One painful step at a time. When he opened his door, Yuna was waiting. She saw his face, and her silver eyes went wide. She ran to him, not away from him. To him, she pulled at his hand and made him sit down. Then she ran around the room, gathering cloths and water. She came back and started cleaning his wounds. Her small hands were gentle. Her touch was soft. And then she spoke. You hurt. Out. Her voice was rough and broken from not being used. Her pronunciation was wrong, but the words were clear. I fix. Taiho stared at her. She had spoken. After a month of silence, she had spoken. Yuna, he whispered. You talked? She nodded seriously. She did not seem surprised by her own voice. She was too focused on helping him. She wrapped a cloth around a cut on his arm. She pressed a cold rag against his swollen eye. Something broke inside Taiho then. Not a bad break. A good break. Like a wall falling down. He started to cry. He cried for Dongyun. For all the friends he had lost. For the years of hate he had carried. For this small girl who had lost everything but still wanted to help him. I am sorry, he said through his tears. I am so sorry. Yuna did not understand why he was apologizing, but she did something unexpected. She put her small arms around him and hugged him. It was the first time she had touched him willingly. They stayed like that for a long time. A broken soldier and a broken child. Holding each other in a small room on a ruined world. The next day, Elder Sora came to visit. She brought medicine for Taiho's injuries. She also brought news. I must tell you something about Yuna, the old woman said. Something important. Taiho looked at Yuna. She was drawing on her tablet in the corner. She seemed happier today. More relaxed, her parent, Sora continued. They did not die the way you might think. What do you mean? They were peace advocates. They believed the war was wrong. They spoke out against Valari leaders who wanted to keep fighting. Sora paused. They were killed by their own people. Valari extremists murdered them for being traitors. Taiho felt like the ground had shifted under his feet. Yuna's parents were not killed by humans. No, they were killed by Valari, who hated peace as much as your reckoners do. Taiho looked at Yuna again. This small girl had lost her family to hate. But not to human hate. To her own people's hate. The same kind of hate that Minho had. The same hate that existed on both sides. The war had not been humans against Valari. It had been hate against love. Fear against hope. And hate had won, over and over again, on both sides. She lost everything, Taiho said quietly. Just like me. Just like many of us, Sora agreed. War makes no winners. Only different kinds of losers. That night, Taiho sat with Yuna and told her about Dongyun. He told her about his funny laugh, his love of music, how he always stole food from Taiho's plate when they were children. He told her how much he missed his brother, how angry he had been at her people, how that anger had become all he had left. Yuna listened. She did not understand every word, but she held his hand through the whole story. When he finished, she spoke again. Her words were slow and careful. My father, she said. He tell me. Hate is heavy. Too heavy to carry? Must put down, or it break you. Taiho squeezed her hand. Your father was a wise man. Yes. Tears fell down her blue cheeks. I miss him. I miss my brother too. They sat in silence. Two orphans of war. Two people who had every reason to hate each other. But somehow, they had found something else instead. Not forgiveness. That would take time. Maybe years, but understanding. And that was a start. Taiho looked at his wounds in the mirror. They were ugly. They would leave scars. But scars were just marks that showed you had survived. He had survived the war. He had survived his hate. And now, with this strange little girl by his side, maybe he could survive the peace too. Maybe they both could. 3 more months passed. The camp on Heaven 4 was closing down. The war was truly ending now. Refugees were being moved to new homes on different planets. Life was starting over for everyone except Taiho and Yuna. The morning started like any other. Taiho made breakfast. Yuna practiced writing human words on her tablet. She was learning fast. Every day she knew more words. Every day she spoke more clearly. Good morning, she said when he handed her food. Her pronunciation was almost perfect now. Good morning, he replied. How did you sleep? I had a dream. About flowers. Big purple flowers on a hill. She smiled. It was nice. These small moments made Taiho happy. Seeing her smile, hearing her talk about dreams instead of nightmares, she was healing. They both were. Then the message came. A soldier knocked on their door and handed Taiho a paper. Official documents. He read them twice to make sure he understood. "What is it?" Yuna asked. She could read the worry on his face. Taiho did not know how to tell her. He sat down heavily on his bed. "The camp is closing in 2 weeks," he said slowly. "Everyone is being moved." "We move together?" Yuna asked. Her voice was hopeful. "No." The word hurt to say. "You are being sent to a Valari orphanage. On a planet called Farhaven. It is in Valari space." Yuna's face changed. The light in her eyes went dark. "No, I stay with you. Yuna, I am a human soldier. You are a Valari child. The government says we cannot stay together. But you are my—" She stopped. She did not finish the sentence. But Taiho knew what she wanted to say. "You are my family." He felt the same way. Somewhere in the past months, this scared little girl had become important to him. More important than anything, she was not his daughter by blood. But she was his daughter in every way that mattered. "I will fix this," he said. "I promise." But promises are hard to keep when the universe is against you. Taiho went to the camp administration. He filled out forms. He asked questions. He begged. But the answer was always the same. "Human Valar adoption is not allowed," the officer told him. "The governments do not trust each other enough. Maybe in 10 years, things will be different. But not now." "She has no one else," Taiho argued. "I am all she has." "I understand. But the rules are clear. She goes to the orphanage. You return to Earth for reassignment. That is the end of it." Taiho wanted to break something. He wanted to scream. But that would not help Yuna, so he swallowed his anger and walked away. Ju found him that night sitting outside the camp walls. Taiho was staring at the stars. His face was empty. "I heard what happened," Jiwoo said, sitting down next to him. "I am sorry. I cannot let them take her. She is just starting to heal. If she goes to that orphanage, alone, without anyone she trusts—" Taiho could not finish. Jiwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke carefully. "I might know something. A way to help." Taiho looked at him sharply. "What do you mean?" "There is a new planet. A neutral colony world called New Pyong. It was built after the war as a place where humans and Valari can live together. A fresh start." Jiwoo pulled out his personal device. "Under the new accord, they have different laws. Interspecies adoption is allowed there." "Are you serious?" "Yes, but there is a problem. You would have to go in front of a tribunal. Human and Valari judges together. You would have to convince them that you, a human soldier who fought in the war, should be allowed to raise a Valari child." Taiho's heart was beating fast. "How do I apply?" Jiwoo smiled. "I already started the paperwork. I called in some favors. Old friends in high places. Your hearing is in 5 days." Taiho grabbed his friend and hugged him hard. "Thank you. Thank you. Do not thank me yet. You still have to convince the tribunal, and that will not be easy." The next 5 days were the longest of Taiho's life. He prepared for the hearing. He gathered evidence. Letters from Elder Sora. Medical reports showing Yuna's improvement. Drawings she had made. Yuna knew something was happening. She could feel the tension. But Taiho did not tell her about the hearing. He did not want to give her hope that might be crushed. The day of the tribunal arrived. Taiho dressed in his cleanest clothes. He stood in front of 5 judges. 3 humans. To Valari, their faces were serious and unreadable. "You are Sergeant Taiho of the Terran Defense Corps," the lead judge said. She was an older human woman with gray hair. "You served 5 years in the war against the Valari." "Yes, Your Honor. And now you want to adopt a Valari child. A child whose people you fought against. A child whose people killed your brother." The judge looked at him hard. "Why should we believe this is not some kind of trick?" Or worse, some kind of revenge. Taiho took a deep breath. He had practiced speeches. He had prepared arguments. But now, standing here, all those words felt empty. So he spoke from his heart instead. 5 months ago, I hated every Volari in the galaxy. I wanted them all dead. I blamed them for my brother's death. I blamed them for my pain. He paused. Then I found a little girl hiding in the ruins of a bombed school. The judges were silent, listening. She was afraid of me, just like I was afraid of her people. We did not trust each other. We could not even look at each other. Taiho's voice grew stronger, but she taught me something. She taught me that the war did not end when the guns stopped. It ends when we choose to stop fighting. He looked at each judge in turn. Human and Volari. Yuna lost her parents to hate. I lost my brother to hate. We have both seen what war does. What fear and anger create. He took another breath. I cannot bring back the dead. I cannot fix the past. But I can choose a different future. I can choose to love instead of hate. I can choose to protect instead of destroy. The room was very quiet. I am not asking you to forget what happened, Taiho continued. I am asking you to believe that we can be better, that a human soldier and a Velari child can become a family. That piece is not just words on paper. He stood tall and looked directly at the lead judge. I choose her. I choose Yuna, and I will spend the rest of my life proving that choice was right. The judges spoke quietly among themselves. Minutes passed like hours. Taiho's hands were sweating. His heart was pounding. Finally, the lead judge spoke. The tribunal has reached a decision. She paused. We grant provisional custody of the Volari child Yuna to Sergeant Taiho. You will relocate to New Poyang. A social worker will check on you regularly for 2 years. If everything goes well, the custody will become permanent. Taiho could not believe it. His legs felt weak. Thank you. Thank you so much. That evening, he told Yuna the news. She stared at him. We stay together? Yes, we stay together. Forever. Forever. Yuna threw herself into his arms. She was crying, laughing, saying something in Volari that he did not understand. What does that mean? He asked. It is what we call someone who stays, she explained. Someone who does not leave. Someone who is family. Taiho held her tight. His own tears were falling now. Family, he repeated. Yes, we are family. Outside the window, the stars were shining. Somewhere out there was a planet called New Pyong. A new home. A new beginning. They would go there together. A human soldier and a Volari girl. Father and daughter, not by blood, but by choice. And sometimes that is the strongest bond of all. 5 years had passed since the tribunal. 5 years since Taiho and Yuna had started their new life on New Pyong. The planet was beautiful. Green hills stretched in every direction. The sky was a soft blue, almost like Yuna's skin. 2 moons hung in the heavens, one gold and one silver. It was a world built for hope. Taiho stood on the porch of their small farmhouse watching the sunrise. He was different now. The anger that had lived in his chest for so long was quiet. Not gone completely. But no longer in control, he had left the military 2 years after arriving on New Pyong. Being a soldier did not feel right anymore. He had spent too many years destroying things. He wanted to build something instead, so he became a farmer. He grew food. He raised animals. It was simple work, hard work, but it made him feel alive in a way fighting never had. Father. Yuna's voice called from inside the house. Breakfast is ready. Father. He still felt something warm in his chest every time she called him that. Taiho walked inside. Yuna was standing at the stove, cooking eggs and vegetables. She was 14 now. Tall for a Volari. Her blue skin was healthy and bright. Her silver eyes sparkled with life. She was studying to become a healer. She went to a mixed school where humans and Volari learned together. She had friends from both species. She was happy. Most of the time, some nights, Taiho still heard her crying. Bad dreams that pulled her back to the war. Back to the day her parents died. The trauma never fully disappeared. It just learned to hide. But they faced those nights together. He would sit with her until the fear passed. She would hold his hand until she could breathe again. That was what family did. "You look tired," Una said, putting food on his plate. "Did you not sleep well?" "I slept fine. Just thinking about old times, happy thoughts or sad thoughts." Taiho smiled. "Both. That is how memories work." They ate breakfast together, talking about small things. Her classes, the farm, a movie she wanted to watch, normal things, peaceful things. Then someone knocked on the door. Taiho opened it to find two people in formal clothes. One human, one Valari. They wore badges that showed they worked for the Galactic Peace Council. "Sergeant Taiho," the human woman asked. "Just Taiho now. I am not a soldier anymore, of course." She smiled politely. "My name is Delegate Yunji. This is my colleague, Delegate Terrace. We represent the Joint Peace Initiative." The Valari man nodded. His silver eyes were serious but kind. "We have come to ask for your help." They sat in the living room and explained. After 5 years of fragile peace, humans and Valari were finally ready to sign a permanent treaty. No more temporary agreements. A real, lasting peace. "The signing ceremony will be on the space station Unity," Yunji said. "Leaders from both sides will be there. It will be the most important political event in decades." "What does this have to do with us?" Taiho asked. Taras leaned forward. "We want you and your daughter to speak at the ceremony. To share your story. You are living proof that peace between our peoples is possible." "No, I do not want to be a symbol. I am just a man trying to raise his daughter." "With respect," Youngji said gently, "you are more than that. You fought in the war. You lost family. You had every reason to hate. But you chose differently. That choice matters. There are others who made the same choice. Yes, but few are as visible as you. A human soldier who adopted a Valari orphan. You give people hope that change is possible." Taiho looked at Yuna. She had been listening quietly. Her face was thoughtful. "What do you think?" he asked her. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke slowly. "I used to believe that words do not matter. Only actions. But I have learned something different." She looked at the delegates. "Words can create actions. When people hear stories, they think differently. When they think differently, they act differently." She turned to Taiho. "If we stay quiet, people will think peace is just words on paper. We have to show them it is real, that it can live and grow, that it looks like us." Taiho felt pride swelling in his chest. When had his scared little girl become so wise? "All right," he said to the delegates. "We will do it." 3 weeks later, they stood backstage at the Unity space station. Through the curtain, Taiho could see thousands of people. Humans and Velar sitting together. Leaders and citizens. The whole galaxy was watching through cameras. His hands were shaking. He had faced enemy soldiers without fear. But this was different. This was scarier. Yuna touched his arm. "Are you nervous?" "Very, me too." She smiled. "But we are nervous together. That is better than being nervous alone." He laughed softly. "When did you become the parent?" "I learned from watching you." They were called to the stage. The lights were bright. The The crowd was quiet. Tai-ho stepped up to the speaker's platform. His mouth was dry. But beside him, Yuna stood tall and calm. She spoke first. "My name is Yuna. 5 years ago, I was hiding in the ruins of my destroyed home. I had lost everything. My parents, my people, my hope." Her voice was clear and strong. "A human soldier found me. I was afraid of him. His people had bombed my city. His people were my enemies." She paused, letting the words sink in. But this soldier did not see an enemy when he looked at me. He saw a child, a scared little girl who needed help. Tears were forming in her silver eyes, but she did not stop. He could have walked away. He could have left me there. But he chose to stay. He chose to protect me. He chose to love me. She looked at Tai-ho with so much emotion that his heart ached. Today, he is my father, not by blood, by choice. And I believe that is what peace really means. It means choosing to see the person instead of the enemy. Choosing to love instead of hate. Choosing to build instead of destroy. The crowd was silent. Some people were crying. Then it was Tai-ho's turn. He walked to the platform. His voice was rough when he started speaking. "I used to believe that the Valari were monsters. I used to want them all dead. The war had taken my brother. It had filled me with anger and pain." He looked out at the mixed audience. "I was wrong. The war did not make monsters. It made victims. On both sides, humans and Valari suffered. Humans and Valari lost families. We were all fighting the same enemy. That enemy was not each other. It was hate. It was fear. It was the lie that we are too different to live together." He put his hand on Yuna's shoulder. "This girl taught me what I should have known all along. We are not so different. We all want the same things: safety, love, a chance to be happy. And we can only have those things if we give them to each other." He looked directly into the cameras. Millions of people watching. Human and Valari. "I cannot tell you to forget the past. I cannot tell you to forgive. Those things take time. Sometimes a lifetime." He squeezed Yuna's shoulder. "But I can tell you to choose. Every day you have a choice. Hate or love. Fear or hope. War or peace. Choose wisely. Choose kindly. Choose each other." The speech ended. For a moment, there was silence. Then the applause started. It grew louder and louder until the whole station was shaking with it. Humans and Valari standing together, clapping, crying, hoping. Later that night, Atehu and Yuna sat by a window on the space station. Outside, stars filled the darkness like scattered diamonds. "Do you think it will work?" Yuna asked. "Do you think they will really choose peace?" "I do not know," Tai-ho admitted. "Probably not all of them. Probably not right away. But some will. And those people will change others. And slowly, things will get better. It will take a long time. Yes, probably longer than our lives." Yuna nodded slowly. She leaned against his shoulder. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Choosing me? Giving up your old life?" Tai-ho wrapped his arm around her. He thought about everything he had been through. The war, the loss, the pain, and then finding a scared little girl in the ruins. "Never," he said. Not for one moment, they watched the stars together. Father and daughter. Human and Valari. Two people who had every reason to be enemies but had chosen to be family instead. The war had taken everything from both of them. But somehow in the ashes, they had found something worth keeping. Each other. And that was enough. The treaty was signed the next day. It was just words on paper, like Yuna had said. But words can become actions. And actions can become history. Somewhere in the galaxy, a human child and a Valari child were playing together for the first time. Somewhere an old soldier was teaching a young alien to fish. Somewhere two people who had been enemies were becoming friends. Peace was not a moment. It was a million moments. A million choices. A million small acts of courage and kindness. And it all started with one choice. One soldier. One little girl, one family, the end.